Serengeti, where the red sun shines down on the endless grasslands. On the surface, it is peaceful, but in reality, it is a fierce arena of life and death. Here, every step can lead to a terrible end. The fierce Serengeti. The Lion King challenges the giant elephant. The red sun gradually rises from the horizon. Its light falls on the endless grasslands, turning the Serengeti into a sea of yellow fire. The lonely treetops cast long zigzag shadows on the cracked ground, like cracks waiting to explode. The only echoes are the whistling wind and the shrill chirps of insects, but in that silence, there is an invisible tension. From afar, the ground begins to shake heavily. The dust gradually rolls into hazy clouds. Then a giant black shadow appears in the middle of the sunburned grassland. With a tall body, like a mobile fortress, the African elephant advanced slowly but powerfully. The long, curved tusks shone in the sunlight. The giant trunk gently swung as if sweeping away everything in its path. Each step echoed on the ground like a war drum, carrying a feeling of both majesty and menace, making the surrounding space suffocate. The dark gray skin was as thick as a layer of armor, deeply etched with rough wrinkles from the harsh sun and wind. The giant ears spread wide, waving rhythmically like fans, both regulating the body temperature and acting as a shield to protect against enemies. The eyes were small but shone with alertness, containing wisdom passed down through many generations. The African elephant is the largest creature on land, able to eat hundreds of kilograms of grass, leaves, and bark a day to maintain its enormous strength. They move in herds, closely bonded together, where the leader, usually an older female, leads the herd in search of water and food. Their resilience, enduring memory, and instinct to protect their cubs make elephants one of the Serengeti's most powerful survival symbols. In the midst of the slowly moving herd, a baby elephant trotted along, clumsy but innocent. In the distance, among the tall yellow grass, a few shadows crept silently, like dark smoke. Their bright yellow eyes flashed in the bright sunlight, watching the moving herd. Without a sound, without a single breath, the lion stalked with deadly patience. And then the fight broke out. Realizing the absolute difference, the lion gradually retreated, its hoarse roar like a final warning. The herd slowly moved into the distance, tightly wrapping the cubs in a protective circle. On the brutal Serengeti, the giant continues his journey, carrying with him a symbol of endurance, wisdom, and power that no one can easily challenge. The Serengeti gradually returns to silence after the shaking confrontation between the giant and the predator. Dust still hangs in the air, lingering with the tense smell of a battle that has not yet subsided. But on this fierce steppe, the silence is only a short break. Because somewhere, another cycle of survival is gradually starting, as other creatures step into the harsh arena of nature. From afar, slender but towering figures gradually appear in the sun-burned steppe. It is the giraffe, the tallest mammal on the planet, with its long neck reaching almost to the sky, far above the sparse acacia canopy. Its mottled brown-yellow fur forms a pattern like a perfect camouflage among the burnt grass. The long, slender legs, seemingly fragile, but contain a terrifying power. A single kick is enough to take down a predator like a lion. Giraffes are leaf-eating animals and can consume dozens of kilograms of leaves every day, especially acacia leaves, a food that few species dare to touch. They move in small groups, keeping enough distance to be alert to danger, but close enough to protect each other. But in the world of the Serengeti, even that giant figure is never completely safe. In the short grass, a few dark golden figures silently crawled, their eyes shining with hunger. The lions once again joined the fight. This time, the prey in front of them was a tall but lonely giraffe. The space seemed to hold its breath. Every blade of grass seemed to stop moving. Only the rapid heartbeats of the predators remained, waiting for the moment to explode. Then boom, the lions rushed out. The lions still persistently pursued, but the distance gradually widened. Their superior height helps giraffes see further, finding a way out through the sparse acacia trees. The fierce chase ends, but the giraffe's journey has never been just about running away. In the vortex of survival in the Serengeti, they also carry on their shoulders another mission, maintaining their species for the next generation. During mating season, giant males engage in dramatic neck fights. They swing their long necks like weapons, whacking their opponents to gain access to the females. The collisions resound like war drums, but the winner will have the right to pass on their bloodline. The female giraffe will then be pregnant for about 15 months. When giving birth, the special thing is that the baby has to fall freely from a height of nearly 2 meters to the ground. The first fall in life seems harsh, but it helps its lungs open to take its first breaths. A baby giraffe can stand up and run within hours of its birth, because in the Serengeti, slowness means death. As the red sun sinks below the horizon, its tall necks stand tall in the vast Serengeti grasslands. They are not only a symbol of graceful beauty, but also a testament to resilience in the face of harsh nature. As the grasslands gradually turn dry, giant dust clouds roll up from the horizon. It is not a sandstorm, but a sign of a great journey, the Great Migration. In the sunburnt Serengeti grasslands, mottled black and white bodies move silently in large herds. They are zebras, animals that wear a unique striped coat in nature. Each individual has a different pattern, like a fingerprint, which helps them recognize each other and blend into the crowd to confuse predators. With a strong body and long legs, zebras can reach speeds of more than 60 kilometers per hour, and their agile strides help them escape in the nick of time. Their ears are always upright, their eyes are wide open, and their instinct to be alert keeps their zebra herds alert. Just one strange noise can cause the whole herd to explode into a wave of escape. Although they look gentle at first glance, zebras do not only know how to run away. A powerful kick from their back can break bones, even take down predators like hyenas or lions. Zebras live in herds, united by their loud neighs and incredible unity. They not only migrate to find green grass, but also play a pioneering role, leading the way for herds of wildebeest and gazelle, paving the way on harsh river crossings. During mating season, males will engage in fierce battles, using their teeth to bite and kick hard to compete for access to females. The female zebra then gestates for about 12 months and usually gives birth to just one calf. The newborn must stand up within minutes and then run after just an hour. Under the blazing sun of the Serengeti, the black and white stripes blend together, creating an endless sea of motion, both breathtakingly beautiful and illustrative of the harshness of the journey to survival. Every year, when the Serengeti grasslands are depleted, they cross the parched fields, endure the scorching sun and endless hunger, just to find the green grass on the other side of the Mara River. The loud neighing mixed with the thundering hooves, the whole herd of zebras crowded the banks of the Mara River. Then, as if by an invisible command, the leader dived first. Immediately, the entire sea of black and white stripes rushed down, turning the river's surface into a chaotic whirlwind of water, foam, and struggling bodies. From under the water, giant crocodiles rose like ancient ghosts. The brutal hunt took place on the water surface. The sound of splashing water, the shrill neighing echoed, creating a scene of ultimate life and death. On the raging Mara River, the survivors continued to swim towards the far shore, while the fallen became spoils for the underwater killers. As the sun sets red over the Mara River, the black and white stripes continue to stretch endlessly. Despite having lost many of their kind during the fierce journey, the zebra herd continues to move forward, united as a unified block. When the chaos of the Great Migration has subsided, the Serengeti sky trembles with the spread wings of black birds. From above, they circle patiently, their sharp eyes following every trace of death below. These are vultures, the silent cleaners of nature, but also symbols of the endless cycle of life and death. With their bald heads and sharp beaks, vultures do not have the graceful beauty of eagles or hawks. However, their special shape is an advantage. Their featherless skin helps them avoid being stained by blood and bacteria when picking at rotting carcasses. Their wide wings can be more than 2 meters long, allowing them to soar for hours in the Serengeti sky, searching for the scent of death from dozens of kilometers away. Vultures live in flocks, and when one discovers a carcass, in just a moment, the whole sky seems to explode with black wings. Their hoarse cries echo, their beaks clatter, and in just a few hours, a huge carcass is also cleared, leaving only a bare white skeleton. It is their survival instinct, and also nature's way of keeping this land from being filled with carrion and disease. During the breeding season, vultures build nests on high cliffs or lonely trees, usually laying only one egg. Both parents take turns incubating the egg for several weeks, then feeding the young by feeding them bits of mushy flesh. Although considered scavengers, vultures have a motherly love as strong as any other species on the Serengeti. However, even nature's cleaners are not completely safe. Vultures can be attacked by lions and hyenas when fighting over carcasses, or lose their habitat when the forest thins. Against the red sunset sky, the vultures spread their wings, slowly disappearing into the horizon. In the cruel Serengeti, even death carries value, nurturing life for others and maintaining balance for the entire wild world. The red sun gradually disappears behind the horizon, covering the vast grasslands with sunset light. A day in the Serengeti ends, but the cycle of survival never stops. Every creature, strong or small, is a link in the endless symphony of life and death. Have you ever thought that even the giant elephant will fall before the claws of a predator? Leave your comments below the video. And don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe so you don't miss the next wildlife survival series. The desert is desolate. The blazing sun covers the dry sand sea. Here, every hot wind carries the breath of death. Hidden under the scorching sand, the legless assassins silently crawl, waiting for the moment of life and death. In this harsh arena, who will stand firm, the hunter or the hunted? The harsh desert, king snake, and the horrifying war with the enemy. The fiery red sun hangs in the sky, pouring scorching rays of sunlight onto the endless sand sea. The skinny, sharp-thorned cacti stand bare like silent warriors, fighting against the harshness. The space is eerily silent. Only the dry, whistling wind remains, like the breath of death covering the entire land. This seemingly arid and lifeless place hides terrible predators, and soon a terrifying battle will erupt. From under the hot sand, a gentle movement shook the ground. A black and white head emerged, its sharp eyes sparkling under the blazing sun. King Snake, the notorious predator of the desert, slowly crawled out, its nearly 2-meter-long body curving gracefully like a strip of living steel. The alternating black and white scales formed a brilliant but powerful pattern, reflecting the sunlight like a deadly warning. The forked tongue protruded, vibrating lightly in the air, catching every passing scent. It moved slowly but surely, silently like an assassin, each muscle coiled, carrying within it the power to crush any enemy. In this harsh desert, the appearance of King Snake signaled a nightmare about to fall. Amidst the dappled shade on the sand, a sinuous figure appeared. It was a venomous snake, with cold eyes and killer instinct, slowly crawling out from the dry thorn bush. A deadly silence fell, signaling a fierce confrontation between two legless assassins of the desert. And then the fight broke out. In just a moment, silence returned to the desert. The venomous snake lay motionless on the sand, and King Snake, with absolute power, began to swallow its prey, asserting its throne as the king of snake hunters. In the harsh world of the desert, where life is always challenged every moment, King Snake is not just a predator, it is a symbol of survival instinct. But on this land of death, there is no eternal ruler. Will the next time, when the sand rolls up again, King Snake continue to hold the throne, or will it become the prey of a more cruel fate? The sun gradually set behind the distant mountains, the fiery red light fading on the vast sea of sand. The space is quiet, but the life in the desert never stops moving. Right next to a low thorn bush, from inside a small cave, another figure slowly appears. It is the burrowing owl, its round yellow eyes scanning the landscape, alert to the harsh world full of dangers. With a height of only about 20 centimeters, the burrowing owl has a small body but exudes agility. Its brown feathers with white spots help it blend perfectly with the color of the dry sand and thorn bushes. Its legs are unusually long compared to other owls, allowing it to run quickly on the scorched ground, instead of relying only on its wings. Its large, round yellow eyes, shining with vigilance, always turn around constantly to check for enemies. Unlike most of its relatives, the burrowing owl nests right in the burrows of abandoned rodents, sometimes digging more to expand its shelter. In its survival life, it hunts small prey such as insects, lizards, and small rodents. Despite its small size, the burrowing owl is always threatened by formidable enemies, such as snakes, foxes, and large birds of prey. However, thanks to its flexible adaptability, this burrowing owl still survives in the harsh desert, proving the diversity of life in a place where only death seems to reign. The hot wind continued to sweep across the sand sea, stirring up clouds of hazy yellow dust. In the distance, jagged cactus bushes stretched out under the blazing sun, their sharp thorns glistening like spears, ready to pierce any living thing. From afar, a small black shadow darted across the bright sky. Its wings spread wide, cutting through the harsh sunlight, signaling the appearance of another predator, small but no less cruel. It was a shrike with a body length of only about 20 to 23 centimeters and a weight of less than 50 grams. At first glance, it looked like a harmless little bird. However, hidden behind that figure was a cold-blooded killer of the desert. Its light gray plumage mixed with white, its wings and tail stood out, and the dark black streak extending through its eyes made it look like it was wearing a warrior's mask. The sharp, hooked beak makes it look like a miniature version of an eagle or a hawk, always ready to tear apart its prey. The hunting instinct of the shrike makes even the small animals around it terrified. It swoops down quickly, grabbing insects, lizards, small mice, and even baby birds. The creepy thing is that after killing, it often pins the prey's body to cactus thorns or sharp branches to gradually tear the flesh, turning it into a haunting warehouse of death. It is this cruel habit that has earned it the nickname of the Butcher of the Desert. During the breeding season, usually in spring and early summer, the male bird brings food, and performs fast flights to attract a mate. The nest is built on thorny bushes or low trees, lined with dry grass and feathers. Each clutch usually has from 4 to 7 eggs, incubated for about 2 weeks. Both parents participate in raising the chicks, providing food continuously until the chicks are strong enough to fly. However, despite being a notorious killer, the shrike cannot escape the cycle of life and death. Larger predators, such as hawks, owls, snakes, or even wild cats, are always lurking, ready to snatch eggs, chicks, or even itself. However, thanks to its cruel instincts and tenacious adaptability, the shrike still survives and becomes a living testament to the harshness and diversity of life in the burning desert. The desert sunlight gradually tilts, spreading streaks of bright yellow light on the burning sand. The deep sky is like a shimmering blue mirror, where each hot wind rolls up into vague waves. In that vast space, a sudden movement breaks the silence, signaling the appearance of a new ruler. From above, a black shadow with wingspan of more than a meter suddenly glides across the bright sky. It is Harris's hawk, the desert's sky warrior. The dark brown plumage with white patches stood out in the sun. The golden legs were full of strength, and the sharp hooked beak shone with a deadly look. The cold golden eyes scanned the ground, searching for every small movement in the sea of burning sand. Unlike other solitary hawks, the Harris's hawk rarely knew how to coordinate in a flock. Up above, a few other birds had joined the flock, dividing their positions, moving rhythmically like a well-trained army. They began a siege from the sky, a hunting tactic unique to this bird. The cold golden eyes continuously scanned the ground, where every thorn bush and every sand crevice could hide prey. One suddenly tilted its wings, its claws slightly retracted, its gaze locked on the small figure wriggling under the dry thorn bush. It was a desert hare, its long ears trembling slightly, not knowing that death was silently watching in the sky. The air seemed to freeze. The flock tensed, waiting for the right moment. Suddenly, it swooped down. In an instant, the chase was over. On the scorching sand, the rabbit was motionless, becoming a feast for the warrior who knew how to hunt with perfect tactics. In this harsh desert, not only the ground was soaked in blood, but the sky was also an arena of life and death. Harris's hawk, a rare cooperative bird of prey, is a testament to the power of tactics and solidarity in the wild. The sky returned to its calm state, but the dry, cracked ground below still held countless dangers. In the desert world, when a ruler had just retreated, there were always other figures ready to take their place in the endless cycle of life and death. In the midst of that quiet picture, a sudden movement tore through the space, fast, neat, and low to the ground. It was another desert creature, unable to fly high, but possessing a speed that was enough to become a nightmare for many small creatures. Appearing on the burning sand was the roadrunner, a small bird but famous for its extraordinary speed. About 60 centimeters long, with a slender body, long sturdy legs, and a long balancing tail, all were born to serve the purpose of speed. The dark brown feathers with white stripes helped it blend in with the color of the sand, its sharp eyes always darting around, catching every smallest movement of its prey. Roadrunner is not only a swift bird, but also a skilled killer. Unlike many birds that rely only on their wings, Roadrunner rarely flies, but instead has a running speed of more than 30 kilometers per hour, enough to make it a ruler of the scorched earth. In the harsh world, speed is the weapon that helps it chase, take down prey, and escape larger predators. At noon, the desert ground is cracked and silent, only the dry wind whistling through the low thorn bushes. Roadrunner stops slightly, sharp eyes locked on the faint movement under the sand. A small snake is slowly slithering out, its forked tongue sticking out continuously, completely unaware that it has been targeted. Immediately, Roadrunner rushes in. The short but brutal fight ends in the blink of an eye. Roadrunner holds his head high, enjoying the spoils, vividly demonstrating that speed and brutality are the ultimate weapons of survival in the burning sand. In this harsh world, it is not just a small bird, but a symbol of agility and determination, one fast enough, fierce enough, to survive where death lurks every moment. In the burning desert, life and death are always intertwined in every moment. Here, the hunter and the hunted are only a breath apart, and no throne lasts forever. It is a fierce cycle of life and death, but it is also the strength that maintains the fragile balance of wild nature. Do you believe that there is another species strong enough to defeat King Snake in this harsh arena? Leave a comment below the video. And don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe so you don't miss the next wildlife survival series. A journey repeated for millions of years, where the instinct for survival drives millions of creatures to rush into the most fierce race on the planet. From the icy rivers of the north to the scorching savanna of Africa and the deep waters where the ocean meets the Rocky Mountains, all are in sync. Every step, every flick of the tail can be the boundary between life and death. Bloody migrations. The race between life and death. The far north of the planet, where land meets ice and ocean meets sky. The air is so cold that every breath turns to white mist, and the water shimmers as if covered with thousands of crystal shards. In the midst of this landscape, glaciers roll through snow-covered pine forests, creating silver paths winding between majestic mountains. The sound of water crashing against rocks echoes like the heartbeat of nature, both fierce and regular, signaling the arrival of migration season. Under the cold water, sunlight penetrates each layer of waves, reflecting on the bodies of the red salmon. Salmon are the great travelers of the ocean. For most of their lives, they live in the cold salt water, where deep pressure and fierce ocean currents forge a perfect body for endurance. When the time comes to spawn, their primal instincts rise stronger than any fear. They leave the ocean, starting a journey upstream, thousands of kilometers long, overcoming waterfalls, deep chasms, reefs, and waiting predators. The sound of water pouring through the northern forest resounds like the drumbeat of nature, beating the rhythm of the battle for survival. The white waterfall pours down from the high cliffs. The foam sprays up in a mist, covered with cold mist. In the swirling water, a school of red salmon was trying to fight upstream. Each powerful body bent, gathering force from its tail, then jumped up like a living arrow piercing through the fierce water. White foam splashed. One almost reached the top of the waterfall, but was swept back, smashed hard against the rocks, and then disappeared in the midst of the rushing water. The sound of the water mixed with the sound of the wind, creating a fierce harmony of wild nature. And then, from the cold, wet, mossy rock bank, a giant black shadow appeared. It was the grizzly bear, the master predator of this river. It stood firmly on its hind legs, its body covered in thick, wet fur, its eyes intently watching the boiling water. Water splashed into its face, but the bear remained motionless, waiting for the right moment. And then, the bear's hunt began. It bit hard, water and blood mixed together, flowing down through its snout. The bear took a few steps back, chewing slowly, his eyes still fixed on the waterfall, where hundreds of others continued to swim upstream as if nothing could stop them. At the foot of the waterfall, other salmon still jumped up, wave after wave, the red light covering the water surface. A few made it through, falling into the peaceful waters above, survivors in the storm of survival. The afternoon sun cast a soft golden light on the now calmer river. Foam drifted lazily, carrying a faint red streak of diluted blood, traces of the fierce battle just past. The surviving salmon continued to swim slowly upstream, their bodies torn, their scales peeling, but their eyes still shining brightly in the cold water. The current weakened, the sound of the waterfall faded away behind. Before them was the shallow water, the riverbed strewn with fine pebbles sparkling in the sunset. This was the beginning and the end. The female salmon uses her tail to gently flick her head, digging a nest in the gravel, each movement slow but instinctive. The thin current washes away the tiny grains of sand, revealing a shallow circular hollow that will cradle the new generation. The male approaches, his body crimson, his jaw curved, his body rough and tired from the long journey. They wrap around each other, gently rotating in the cold water. Then, at the same time, the female lays eggs. The male releases sperm to cover them. A small opaque cloud spreads in the clear water, like the breath of new life. Everything becomes quiet, only the sound of water trickling and the shimmering light through the river surface. The female salmon stops, her body shivering slightly, then lets herself lie still among the pebbles. The male also drifts gently beside her, his body gradually darkening, his eyes dimming. The water flows by, gently, carrying the story of sacrifice and rebirth. A few weeks later, those eggs will hatch. The tiny young will drift with the current away from this place towards the vast ocean. Then, a few years from now, they will return to this same river, this same stretch of water, to continue the endless ritual of their ancestors. In their last breath, the salmon do not lose. They complete their mission. Their death is the seed of life for the new generation, and the river, stained with blood, still flows. as a testament to the eternal cycle of nature. Far to the north, where the snow covers the horizon, the ground seems to no longer distinguish between land and sky. The cold wind cuts through the skin, blowing the snowdrifts into a hazy whirlwind. In that space, a giant moving stream is flowing slowly. The North American caribou herd begins its great migration journey. More than 200,000 individuals move together, creating a mobile sea of life that stretches to the horizon. The footsteps trample on the snow, leaving thousands of imprints like the heartbeats of nature in the ice. They migrate in cycles, thousands of kilometers each year, from the southern taiga forest up to the Arctic tundra in the north, where the light never goes out during the summer. Their goal is to find new pastures to breed. There, when the ice melts, the first young grasses sprout, a precious source of nutrition for the newborn calves. The reindeer's journey is a race against time and nature. The snow is blown into columns of dust, covering the reindeer herd moving across the vast tundra. In the distance, faint white shadows appear. At first, there are just a few small movements in the snow mist. Then gradually, a pack of wolves. Their pure white fur makes them almost blend into the snow. Only their golden eyes shine brightly in the cold wind. They move low, fast, silent, as the invisible winds gradually surround the reindeer herd. In a moment, they rush forward. Precise bites, blood red on the white snow, a single streak of color in the frozen world. The reindeer herd continues moving in the distance, not stopping, not looking back. Because in nature, life cannot wait for loss. The strong continue to move, to maintain the flow of the species. In this frozen land, there are no cruel people, only creatures loyal to their instincts. The migration continues, and the cycle of survival begins once again. Winter comes from the north. Cold winds whip across the grasslands, carrying white snowdrifts that blur the space. The sky is gray, the ground is frozen, and the only sound left is the howling wind echoing across the prairie. In the midst of this desolate scene, the herd of North American bison begins to move. From afar, the ground shakes with heavy beats. Huge masses of muscle move silently, their breaths coming out in streams of white smoke. Each one is covered in thick, shaggy fur. Its shoulders are like natural shields, the only armor against the harsh cold of the frozen land. The herd of bison moves slowly, but never stops. They follow the scent of snow-covered grass, traveling dozens of kilometers a day, crossing frozen rivers and white-covered fields. Ahead, a few older herd leaders, leading the way, knew the way well, because this journey had been repeated for thousands of years, following the rhythm of the seasons and the instinct of survival. When the snow fell heavily, the bison used their heads and shoulders to butt the ground, plowing the ice to reveal patches of dry grass underneath. The sound of the ice cracking echoed, mixed with the heavy breathing of the giant herd. Amid the snowstorm, they continued to move south, where open grasslands and abundant food sources awaited. Days later, the ice began to thin. Patches of land were exposed under the weak sunlight of late winter. The bison finally reached warmer grasslands, where the pregnant females would stop, preparing for the moment of birth. In the quiet space, amid the lingering cold of winter, the first life breathed. The small, wet-haired calves shivered in the cold wind, but still tried to stand up on their slender legs. Around them, the bison herd formed a circle, their huge bodies blocking the wind, protecting their calves from predators lurking in the distant darkness. The dawn light shone down on the grassland, illuminating the frost-covered bodies of the bison. Their breathing mingled with the wind, creating a solemn song of new life in the cold season. Time passed quickly. The wind began to change direction. In the gray sky, migratory birds flew in a V formation, signaling the coming of a new winter. Instincts arose. The herd began their journey back north, where the ancient snow forest still awaited. The way back was familiar, but full of danger. Thin ice, the first snowstorm of the season, and eyes lurking behind the cold white curtain. As the cold gradually swallowed the steppe, the shadow of the snow forest appeared on the horizon, high, low, and quiet. The herd moved slowly, its breath turning into thick white smoke in the air. Everything seemed to be silent, only the sound of heavy footsteps on the hard snow. But in the distance, in the thick fog, something was moving too. White shadows loomed, silent and agile, the northern wolves. They had been watching from afar, patient as shadows. Then suddenly, the white shadows rushed out like living arrows. In the midst of the fierce battle, the bison fell, becoming the price of sacrifice for the herd to be saved. In the distance, the herd of bison continued to move. Their footsteps were heavy, but they did not stop. Because in this world, life does not allow for even a moment to stop. Life is never truly peaceful. When the birthing season ends, the hunting season opens again. And just like that, between the white snow and the red blood, this planet continues to rotate with the never-ending breath of life and death. In every corner of the planet, from the frigid oceans to the scorching grasslands, from the top of the permafrost to the deep, humid forests, the race for survival continues. What do you think makes species migrate thousands of kilometers and always find their way back to where they were born? Leave a comment below the video. And don't forget to ring the bell and subscribe so you don't miss the next wildlife survival series.